Hello, this is the Harboring Light. I'm Mary. I give a conservative perspective about the world around me. So, my introductions. Feedback is greatly important. You want to reach out to me, questions, comments, concerns, or even show ideas. Feel free to reach out to me either through email, Substack, follow me on X, at the Harboring, that is. And of course, fill up those comments in YouTube. It would be greatly appreciated. And I do respond, and I appreciate all of you who listen. So, I can't stress enough, feedback is greatly important in the development of the podcast. So, some of the platforms that I'm on are as listed, and feel free to give ratings on it. It'd be greatly appreciated too. Spreaker, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Deezer, just to name a few. All right, so my husband is giving his perspective about men's issues because the other day was Men's International Health Day. Particularly, it was on the 19th. And so he's going to give his perspective about it. And it just, and I like to know what you think about his point of view, and feel free to give comments, questions, concerns about it. All right. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Hello, this is Garrett, and yes, you are still listening to the Harboring Light. My wife Mary has asked me to record again for International Men's Day. That was yesterday as of this recording. And she asked me to give my views just on anything in general. And with the current climate of things, young men may need an older man's perspective. Young boys that are listening may need this perspective. Because it seems like people may start going hard and heavy and again on men and boys letting everyone down. For anyone who somehow may have missed it, Donald Trump has been elected president again. Some people may not like that. Others may be ecstatic about it. But everyone seems to always want to blame straight white men for all the problems of the world. And you can take blame for some of the problems of the world. As a whole, our hands are not clean in any situation. And this is what a man should do. You take accountability for what's yours. You own what's yours. And you say, yes. Some of the world's problems are because of straight white men. The majority? No. Most of the world's problems can be contributed to all the people of the world, not just men and boys. Feminists will tell you it's the patriarchy, and the patriarchy supported by straight white men, and all of the things that affect men are because of men. It's men's fault men's have problems. So, male suicide rate. Oh, you blame the patriarchy. Divorce rates being instigated by the majority of women. No, it's because of men. Even in lesbian relationships. No, it's still because of men. Suicide rate among men is higher. Well, men are the problem for that. And it gets to be a lot. The last time I recorded, I tried to give advice about what a young boy should be doing. And I still firmly believe, Andrew Tate's kind of gone away. And you don't hear much about him anymore. But there are still people who try and, get your money. Just be you. But I think Dr. Peterson said it the best, Dr. Jordan Peterson, be a monster when you're young and then learn how to contain that monster. That doesn't mean go out and hurt people. It means take your aggression out. Learn how to control your aggression. Don't take your aggression out on others. Find a constructive way to harness your aggression, to realize, recognize, and harness your aggression. But I think more important than that is still learning and contributing. Learn something that's of value to society, to your community, to those around you. And put it out into the world. I said that last time and I still believe it. And if you do that, you can be a beacon to the people before you. Right now there's not very many good men that young boys can look up to. Honestly, I'm probably not the best role model. I try to be a better role model for my son. And I hope and pray that I am a good father. But you never know when you're a good father until you're told. Quick and easy. People will tell you all day when you're a bad father. People will tell you all the day when you're a truly bad man. And that was the gauge. Stay away from him. He's a bad man. And if somebody was called a bad man 30 years ago, heck, 20 years ago, if they called somebody a bad man, you knew that they must be a bad man. But nowadays, every man is a bad man. And it's hard to see the good ones. Because no matter what, they always find something to say, well, he's a bad man. It looks like we'll be worrying about World War III with current events. And as things stand at the moment, you have war in Northern Europe. You have North and Korea trying to send troops to assist Russia. And it just seems like the world is falling apart. And then a lot of that has to do with the people in government who care more about themselves and what they can get for themselves than what they can do for their people. There's a saying, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. It seems to me as if the people in positions of power, the people in the government, thought that meant, what can the citizens do for their country? What can the citizens do for me? What can I have men do for me? The problem with that is they forget that they too are citizens. They're citizens that we elected to represent us, to speak for us, to get our voices heard. And instead, they stopped speaking for us. They started telling us what we needed to do. They started telling us how everything is our fault. And finally, people have spoken out against it. And maybe our voices will be heard. But this isn't time to stop. It's not time to say, oh, we got everything we wanted. Now we can just stop caring. It's going to be fixed. Because as a man, your work is never done. It doesn't just, oh, that's it. Day's done. Go to bed. I'm done. Even when it comes time for you to retire, you still go out and you push. And you push every day. For you, for your spouse, for your children. In retirement, you're doing things to push. You should always be trying to better yourself. Like you said, I'm a firm believer that every man should at least have 3 skills. Should know how to do 3 physical labors. Know how to fix at least 3 things in your home. Know how to make at least 3 things. That way, no matter what, you're always able to provide something to your family, to your friends and loved ones around you. If they need you, they can, I know who to call. Let's call you. I hope that I can be the type of father that my kids know, man, something's going wrong. Let's call Dad. Look, it'll be fine. Let's just call my dad. Because that's the type of father I had. I knew that no matter what, if something was going on, I could always call for my father and he would be there for me and support me. He might call me a dumbass, but he would always be there. There was another man in my life, Alan Farrell, who passed at a young age. He was my best friend Corey's dad. He was the same. He was the type of man that would have been there for you no matter what. He would call you a dumbass and give you a smack across the back of the head and tell you how stupid you were for what you did. But he would be there for you and help you figure things out and help you get situated, because that's what it is to be a man. That's what it is to be a father. It's to be firm when you need to be firm, while also being kind and caring and putting across that it's okay. It's not the end of the world. So you broke a vase. So you got your heart broken. So you messed up and you failed a class. What did you do wrong in these situations? Take accountability for what you've done wrong and do better next time. No matter what, there's always a next time. You can't ever go through life thinking that there won't be a next time. That's it and it's all done and said and over. Because that's the type of thinking that'll put you into a very dark place. The type of place that's very hard to escape from. Life isn't a video game. You don't have multiple lives. But you do have multiple chances. Life is more like a Sudoku puzzle that you're completing in pencil. And you have an endless eraser. You might still see the shadows of the mistakes you made before. But you keep your nose to it and you will figure it out in the end. You'll make your way through, and you have all the scars to show of what you went through. You have all the stories to tell of how you got to where you are. You never make excuses for the mistakes you made. You own them. This is my fault. It was my fault this happened. I'm going to do this next time to make sure it doesn't happen again. I'm to blame for this event. I'll fix it. And I'll make sure that I never make this mistake again. See, one big issue that we have in our society today, especially with young boys and young men, is there's a fear of accountability. Young boys and young men, even a lot of older men, have a fear of saying, I made a mistake. This is my fault. I'll do better next time. There's this idea that if you admit to making a mistake, that you'll be branded forever and no one will ever trust you. But in my life, through my many careers, through my time in the military and my time as a police officer, I've learned, I've had it hammered into me, that the truth comes to light. People will find out either way. And if you lie and pretend to know things that you don't, or pretend that you don't know something and you don't know the events of something that happened when you do, it will come to light. And when it comes to light, people will lose respect for you. But if when you're challenged, if you're faced with a challenge and you say, I don't know, I'll do my best to figure it out, but I'm learning with you, people will find more respect for you for being man enough to admit that you don't know, and for working with them to try and figure it out. Because no one in this world is perfect. No matter how many people try and pretend and tell you that they are, or that this person is, no one's perfect. Everyone carries a little bit of blame for the things that are going on in this world. Everyone wants to pretend like it's something. It's something that it's not. That they don't have a part in anything that's going on, and they're just a victim of circumstance. When that's not true. The men who think they're women, they're not victims of circumstance. They're afraid of the truth of their nature, that they're just a man who's very feminine. They may be gay, they may not be, but they're afraid to admit that they're not a woman, and they have to take some of the blame of being a man and what all that may entail. The few women who think they're men, who think that the world is so much better for men, who are just afraid to admit that they have their own privilege. And their life actually isn't that bad and isn't that hard. And there is a time of reckoning for everything in this world. It comes to some sooner than it does to others. But everybody sees it eventually. Everyone comes to the point to where they can no longer lie to themselves and lie to the other people around them. Where they have to admit that reality isn't their perception of the world. It's the whole. Reality is everything that's around you, whether you accept it or not. I mean, the biggest thing of being a man is accepting what's around you. You know, if you are going to go out and play games and lay unprotected and get a woman pregnant, you're going to be forced as a man to accept it. Women want to fight for the quote unquote right to health care, to an abortion. As a man, you don't have a right. People will say you don't have any say-so in the matter of abortion. You just have to accept whatever she chooses. And then you have to pay for that choice. As a man, you're forced to be responsible for your orgasms. And every young boy should be responsible. You should hold out until marriage. But if you're not going to, you should be man enough to own up to the life that you create. That life will hold you accountable. But the great thing about it is you can help guide that life. You can be a beacon and an inspiration to that life and something for that life to aspire to be like. And I think that is somewhere we got lost. Parents stopped wanting to guide and be inspiration to their children, and they started wanting to tell their children how to be. And now you have parents, you're gay. No, you're trans. And they tell their children this so much that they start to believe it. And instead of letting their children make their own decisions. And instead of letting their children be accountable for the choices that they make and the mistakes that they make, they try and do everything they can to keep them from experiencing accountability. When accountability won't kill you. No matter what, as a man, you pay to play, and your feet are held to the fire. You know, they say no one gets out of this life alive. And it's true. While you're here, you should be okay with making mistakes. Be okay with possibly letting someone down. But always try your best to make sure it doesn't happen. Always give 100% of yourself to every task that you do. If you decide to go out and run a mile, do it. Put forth maximum effort and you'll get maximum return. But never let yourself stagnate. Don't just be satisfied with the mile. When you run a mile, the next day, run 1.2. When you get that 1.2, 1.5, 2, 3 miles. If you want to challenge yourself to push-ups, don't settle for 30. Do what you can. And when you fail, cool. This is my number to beat. When you go into the workforce, don't settle for, I'm making enough to get by. Push. Work for more. Give it everything you've got. Don't settle for, my children are good enough. Son, what'd you do at school today? Great. What'd you learn? Tell me what you learned. Oh, you did math. Tell me what you learned in math. Did you learn this? I'm proud of you. Never be afraid to compliment somebody and tell somebody else that they've done a good job, even if they did a better job than you. It's very important that we learn to start communicating with our fellow man. You know, we compete. As men, we compete in everything. But somewhere we forgot how to be gracious winners. And so many have turned into sore winners. It's one thing to be a sore loser, but it's a complete other thing to be a sore winner. When you win, be gracious in winning. When you lose, be a gracious loser. Congratulate the person you competed against. No matter what it is. You're competing for a position. Congratulate them. That way, again, you can be a beacon to the next generation, the generation that you're bringing up. They can look to you and say, wow, this is the way a man acts, whether he's won or lost. A lot of people will tell you that it's impossible to give 100% to everything, that you only have so much to give. And I say they're looking at the world the wrong way. You're not choosing between giving 100% to your career and 100% to your family. And it's not impossible to do both. While you're working, you give it 100%. You dedicate 100% of you to it. When you're not working, you dedicate 100% of you to your family. It's that simple. You don't multitask. You give 100% to each task in front of you, and then you move on to the next one. You don't try to divide your attention, 25% here, 30% here, 25% here, 20% here, and call it a day. Because none of those things will be as good as you know that you could have done them if you dedicated 100%. There's always time to get things done. And if you are the best at making a widget, devote everything you have into making that widget and then do the marketing for it. Then do all the other tasks. Don't try to make the widget and market it and spend time with the family. When you're with the family, spend 100% of your time with the family. Give them 100% of you. When you're building the widget, spend 100% of you building that widget. Put everything you have into it. You will be rewarded. Whether you're rewarded instantly or later on, you will be rewarded. In the sense of knowing that you did the best you could. Or later in life, when you do excel, when you do promote, people will tell you and they'll try to cut you down. Oh, you won't get it. It's a dead end. They're not looking out for you. These greedy people, they don't care about you. But don't worry about the things that others say to bring you down. Because they know it's easier to bring other people around them down than it is for them to work hard enough to be recognized. If you don't think you're being recognized, say something. That's one problem that we have in this world. People are afraid to speak up and be heard. Hey, I want this promotion. I think I'm suited for it. What do I need to do to prove to you that I'm suited for it? And if you feel that they have passed you over after giving them 100%, after giving them all of you to try and get it, then you say, hey, I appreciate everything you've done for me. I'm going to have to move on. I gave everything that I had to get this. You don't see my worth. I'm moving on, and give 100% there. Don't think that because you failed in one aspect you weren't good enough. They may have just been better. But if you know you gave 100%, you may be able to get what you're looking for elsewhere. Sometimes it's a setback, but this is one of those things where people will tell you, oh no, don't leave, or oh, you'd be stupid to stay. Everyone can give you advice, but it's up to you to figure out what's best for you and your family. I hope anybody listening to this will find their way to become a better person. I mean, this is supposed to be for International Men's Day, but men, boys, girls, women, Alien Joe out on Mars if you're listening. The world is at your fingertips. Whether you choose to reach out and grab it or push it away is up to you. You make every decision in your life. No one else can make them for you. And if you give that power of decision over to anyone else, you're only ever going to be unhappy. You make your decisions. Whether it's to have unprotected sex, apply for a job, not apply for a job, stay with that girl who cheated, or leave your 4-year relationship with that boyfriend because you think this guy at your job that's cute might be interested. When you make that decision, for ill or thrill, whatever the outcome, you own it. If you're a guy and you break up with your girlfriend for that shot at that girl, own that. If you ruin a relationship over it, you're gonna have to own it. You might be able to beg for forgiveness and get her back, but you own what you did. And if you're a woman and you've cheated and you apologize and he leaves, own it. Don't. He's a jerk. He just wasn't there for me. No, you own what you did. No one's going to have any more respect for you for lying or for trying to make it seem like it was somebody else's fault. If you want a job, you go out and try to get it. I hope they realize how great I can be for them. No, you go out and you show how great you can be for them. If they don't see it, move on. It's easier to speak a big game than it is to have a big game. You've got to think you're the best, but you can't think too highly of yourself. Thinking you're the best is good. But if you truly believe you're the best, you lose sight of where you lack. And the moment you lose sight of the things you're lacking in and what you're lacking in, it's very easy to convince yourself that you don't have to try anymore. You should always be trying for better. I hope that everyone who's hearing this tries for better. Keep trying for your goal, whatever it may be. If you're trying to learn a language, push. You'll get there. If you're going for a job, push. Study a little more. You'll impress them. You'll get it. Everything comes with time. As long as you don't stop trying, you can make it work. Again, I want to say thank you to my wonderful wife, Mary, for asking me to speak on her podcast. I'm so proud of you. It's the light of my day seeing you every time you get a new listener, every time you get a new like. I enjoy watching you succeed in this so much. To all of my wife's listeners, thank you for listening. You don't understand how grateful she is to each and every one of you who've listened. I am grateful to each and every one of you who listens. To anyone out there who needs to hear it, your life has meaning. Your life has value. It's never too late. And you can always keep trying. And there are always people out there to reach out to. To my fellow veterans, it gets better. It sucks, but it gets better. And there's always somebody you can call and reach out to. Don't become another statistic. Reach out. If you're in a dark place, find the light and reach for it. Just start walking towards it. Crawl. Drag yourself. Put your head down in the mud and pull yourself through. You can do it. You've made it through worse. Again, thank everybody for listening. My name's Garrett, and this is The Harboring Light.